Hello. What a performance. I've tried to get the lighting right. It suddenly occurred to me to turn the computer around away from the window. So here we go. You can see more of my wrinkles, unfortunately, but it's a different view, isn't it? So I've realised that you like my personal stories best, and if they got a little bit of a mysticism in it, even more interesting. So I've been digging in my archives inside my head and found a real humdinger of a mystical story. It's called A Haunting. So I'm going to start off with description of the house I lived in at the time. It's called the Lodge, actually. I think I mentioned it in one of my earlier videos where I found there were bones of a baby buried in the garden. It was a Victorian lodge house right on the edge of the A46, and the A46 is a very long road. It goes from north to south, and it was just two lanes, and the lodge house is right on the very edge, so really only had a couple of yards between the house and the road. Two great black wrought iron gates that I had to close at night in the dark, which is always a bit nerve-wracking. The house really wasn't very safe. It was sash windows, not locked. They were like a locked door, obviously, but it was sash windows, not double glazed. Very, very old house. They put double central heating in for me, well, for the tenant, and I was renting. It had a very, very pointed roof, like a Hansel and Gretel house. I'm giving you a description because this is kind of ambience for the story. So, and I know it was haunted for lots of reasons, but I'm going into a main haunting. I was never afraid of hauntings, funny enough, never afraid of spirits and stuff like that, although I'm not a medium. I was never really afraid of the other side. Which is just as well. So I moved into this house up from Bristol, not knowing anybody, and it was quite a traumatic time, really. There were huge grounds, but the noise, the traffic never stopped. I mean, you had lorries up and down, and they would do now, of course. So it was really, I think they stopped between 2 and 3 a.m. That was the quiet time, if you were lucky. So, and because my double bed wouldn't go up the rickety stairs, I had to sleep in the downstairs bedroom. Well, it wasn't a bedroom, it was a lounge, really. Well, a dining room, really. So I would sleep downstairs, not double glazed, with all this noise. People didn't used to come and stay with me because they couldn't cope with it unless they were a little bit deaf. So it was a little bit of a, I was there 8 years. I loved it because there was nothing there. It was just me, just me, and rabbits and wild creatures and all sorts of things. Rats. Oh, rats. Anyway, so I'm leading up to tell you about the story. Now you've got a picture of this dark, foreboding press. Well, it was dark and foreboding house, really, Victorian house, with very basic. I didn't have much furniture. It was okay, but it was. So here we go. Well, one day I had a phone call from somebody in Nottingham. He was a medium, and he asked me if I could arrange a workshop for him in Newark, because this is where I was, near the showground there. And I thought, yeah, we'll come out, have a chat. I didn't know what he wanted exactly. So anyway, he came out with his wife to have a chat. And he hadn't been in the house more than 2 or 3 minutes. He says, can I see your ring? Which is I've got a rhodonite in silver ring. That's my special magical ring. Well, it's everything ring. And don't do that. Never give anyone your jewellery to hold or to look, because they can read you through your jewellery. And I didn't know. I was very naive. Not that that had anything to do with the story, but I began to feel a little bit uneasy with this man, actually, and he was a medium. Anyway, we chatted for a while, and off he went. Off he went, yes, off he went. And we didn't talk about anything mystical or anything, spirits like that. And it was just a normal conversation. And of course, I didn't think any more of it. So that night I went to bed. I always shut the bedroom door because I didn't really feel that safe, to be honest, in that house. There were sash windows, anyone could have. And with the big black iron gates were, there was a lay-by just outside, so cars would pull in. All sorts of things happened in that lay-by that I wouldn't want to know about. But sometimes people would knock on my door, can we use your phone, can we use your maps? And one morning in the rush hour traffic, a man knocked on my door, can I use your toilet? He obviously had an emergency, and he came in and went out again. fortunately left the place okay. So it was a bit of a weird place to live, to be honest. So, but I was used to it, and I like a challenge, as you probably gather. So here I was in my bed, my big double bed, in the downstairs room, and I shut my door, but in the downstairs room, there's a window that just leans, or see, you can see the road from the window. It's about a few yards from the A46, which is just 2 lanes actually, not a very big road. So, and I have curtains obviously, but this particular night, I was awoken with the almighty crashing and banging and bumping and screaming, and I was terrified. You could imagine, absolutely terrified. I don't know what it was, what to do, whether I'd been broken into. I was just, I was half asleep. So rather than investigate, because I had the door shut, I leapt into this window. I pulled the window up, and I stood on the window frame ready to jump out into the A46. Well, I don't know what I would have done. There was a little bit of grass outside, but I just stood there shaking. I didn't know I thought, what's happened? So I thought, I'll give it a few minutes. The person either gone or done what they want to do. So I was shaking in my nightie in the window, about to leap out onto the A46, and I thought, well, I'll go and check now, see what's happened. And when I opened the door, there was a big hallway. The mirror on the wall was smashed, pictures were on the ground, everything was all over the place. I didn't know what it was. Suddenly I realised, well, it could have been, I thought could have been, spirits wanting attention, because they do want attention. When they're lost and stuck, they find somebody to send them on, which I had mentioned I have done. But it was like a football crowd. And I didn't know what to do. I thought, well, I can't do anything tonight. So I suddenly remembered, I've got lipstick on my teeth. I suddenly remembered that I knew a man, a dowser, somebody who dowsed. You know what dowsing is? You know, yes or no stuff. But he was a well-known dowser, lived in Nottingham. So I gave him a ring. I said, could I come and see you? And we had a little chat about this thing I was going up against. He said, the medium, apparently, because of his work in the churches and so forth, he bought a coachload. He said a coachload of spirits. They all got on the bandwagon, knowing they were going somewhere. Because see, I'm a bit of a lighthouse. Wherever I am, I'm a bit of a lighthouse. People are drawn to the light, like anybody. Oh, God. Oh. Anyway, I'm in an irritable mood this morning. It's full moon, I think, tomorrow in Aries. Full moon in Aries. I mean, it's not a good moon. Anyway, I'm sorry. Anyway, he said he's dropped them all off, and all these beings, they thought come on holiday. They thought they'd come on holiday to see me, and of course they hadn't really. So they just wanted to get off and be sent on somewhere else. This is the bus stop. Oh dear, oh dear. So anyway, he said, I will send them all on for you, because I didn't know what to do with them all. I mean, there were dozens apparently. This might have been collecting them through his church services, and he should have been sending them on. But he was absolutely loaded with these. So this dowser chap, he said he'd send them on. Well, he sent everything on. I mean, someone that didn't send me on. I was aware that the place was cleared, but all the plants outside died. Everything went. He cleared the whole area, so I was like living in a desert. I don't know why he did that, but anyway, he obviously just thought he was helping me and doing me a favour. So he sent all these beings on. So I'm not sure I've ever recovered. I think I did recover from it eventually. I'm coming up to the end of 10 minutes. I mean, it's such a weird story. Me standing in the window frame, ready to jump out. What could I have done? You know, it was just and they wouldn't have hurt me, of course, not physically, but it was just. I've never experienced anything like it. Anyway, you'll enjoy that story, because that was well, it was kind of a haunting, wasn't it? I hope they all went. They must have all gone. So I suppose that happens to everybody, and it will happen more and more, that people will come, they see a little bit of light. Apparently we're supposed to put a light in the window like a candle, so when there's passing spirits, they see a little bit of light, they know what to do and where to go. Oh dear, I was never quite the same in that house after that, I must admit, because I was always a little bit afraid that I was going to draw either a man jumping out of his car to use the toilet or I was going to get caught closing these black gates because of the people that were stopping the lay-by. But I did, I stuck it for 8 years before I moved on to another place. So there we are. I hope it hasn't been too scatterbrained. I mean, it was a bit of a story to tell, really. I hope I filled it all in. I made notes, but as usual. I think I've covered it all, really. It's just the house, the lodge house is a magical house. And of course now, I used to come out of that driveway, turn right into the town of Newark. I love Newark. I don't like it here. But they now put a dual carriageway in, so you've got to go left and right the way around. So I moved just in time, really. And it was the only house that I left of my own accord. Everywhere else I'd been asked to leave. Not, I think that they call it rehousing. It wasn't eviction, it was rehousing. My story. I was a bit of a nuisance, I think, really. So there we are. That's the end of that mystical story. I hope you've enjoyed it. Oh, do you like my new view? I suddenly had the idea, did I tell you this? It came to me, obviously my friends, why not turn the computer around so you're facing the other way? But of course the view's not, well, it's okay, but it's only me. Look at these. I haven't slept for 3 nights. I don't know if you're sleeping well. I think it's all the stuff that's going on. We're bound to be, on edge, aren't we, a little bit, no matter how conscious we are. And that's the secret, is to remain conscious, isn't it? Don't you think? Oh dear, oh dear. It's been a real effort today to get ready. I was just sitting around thinking I've got to do something today. I'm so bored. So hence put the contact lenses in and the makeup on. Oh yeah, by the way, the last video about the music, I said it was Peter Scott, the organist. It's not, it's Jonathan. So apologise to Jonathan. I hope you've shaken that up, because some of the music, it's so cheerful at the moment, and we all need cheering up, don't we? Okay then folks, I think that'll do for now. 12 minutes. Better go before I rub it on a bit more. And I'll see you soon. You take care. God bless. Bye bye.